Hi, I'm Kat Bell, and today I will be making this door hanger using this design inspired by Lord of the Rings and this wood burner. And I'll be finishing it off with some Mod Podge and foil to try and get the glowy effect like you have with the Door of Moria. So let's get started. First, I'm just going to transfer the designs by scratching a bunch of graphite from the pencil onto the back of the design so that I can trace it over and it'll leave the graphite behind when you trace it. It's just one kind of tracing technique that I've seen. I'm sure there's other ways of transferring the design, but this is a tried and true method that I've used. So that's why I decided to do it. And so to get this picture, I used Illustrator and I just found a nice shot of Gandalf when he's facing the Balrog. And I, just did the "you shall not pass" thing. And they only have a close-up of his face when he has the actual line. So what I did was I found a picture of when he was first fighting the Balrog before he destroys the bridge. And he's actually facing the other way, so the face I just drew myself. The outfit is just kind of a tracing of his actual silhouette. And I did screw up a bit here, but, can't always be perfect. So I decided to tape it down so that it wouldn't slide anymore. Probably should have done that at the beginning, but live and learn. Now, this process does take a while, and I'm not sure if you have to press as hard as I do, but I do tend to write really hard when I'm tracing like this, just to make sure that I can see where I've been and where I haven't. And I had to do this for both sides, so I'm starting with the Door of Moria now. And for this one, I just kind of blocked off where I would actually need the graphite first, because it felt simpler overall to do it that way. And then I just kind of afterwards would make sure that I was getting everything covered, especially the tree, because it has like a lot of little branches and stuff, so it's kind of hard to make sure that you get good coverage everywhere. And this was also done in Illustrator, and for that one I just found the scene where Gandalf is kind of giving up on figuring out the password and traced that copy of the door. And here I'm going in with the wood burning tool, and this is my first time doing this, so it did kind of come out a little lumpy at times, and I did discover that rather than going with the very tip of the wood burner, it's kind of better to go at a slight angle. It gives a smoother line, and I didn't really discover this until way late. But overall, it looks like Gandalf. And I didn't go outside the lines too terribly much. There was a couple of times where I kind of skipped the line, but overall, it was pretty good. And I'm going with the thicker tool here, and so I'm just doing the character part first. I'm not really concerned with the text because I figured I would just go in with the smaller tool to make sure that I get those crisp lines for the kind of calligraphy font that I ended up picking. And back at it again with the tracing. Boy, was my hand tired after all of this. And especially since the wood burning was also kind of like holding a pencil, except like a really thick one, so my hand was just straining at this point. It was very time consuming. So I would suggest if anyone wants to try this project to, make a day of it. Don't plan to do it all at once. It's really more of a, do a little at a time kind of project as it turns out. And here I'm struggling with the tape. Probably should have used more like a painter's tape, something where it's kind of meant to not stick as good, but I didn't have any of that on hand. And this is where I'm starting to discover going at an angle is best. So those first couple stars came out a little chunky, and the tree's really where it came all together. And I, learned a little bit more about the technique. So kind of at an angle, and it's obviously sped up here, but take your time with it. Kind of go steady. It's a nice steady motion, which is hard because my hand was shaking at this point already. And also it's just like, it was so scary going in with the wood burner the first time. Even like when it was on the other side, when I first started each side, it was just so nerve-wracking to go in with the burner tool. And so here I'm going in with the finer tip to do the text, because I was just scared that it would be too chunky for the fine little serifs and details. And overall, it worked out really well. And you can't see it in the video, obviously, but yeah, my hand's just shaking, and it was very intense with the wood burner, especially since I did burn myself a little bit. I forget exactly when it happens, but it hurt like the dickens. Pain aside, overall it was a pretty fun process. Even with the hand shaking and everything else, and just the kind of just fear that when when you're wood burning it, it's no longer pencil. This is permanent. This is going to last forever. And like I always say, just sometimes you just gotta dive in and get things over with, in a sense. But overall, it came out pretty good. The wood burning actually worked out fairly well, even though I was scared at first. Overall it was an experience. And I'm not sure what else would be a good design for a door hanger besides like the regular do not disturb kind of thing. But I've seen not this design because this is the one I did, but I've seen similar designs where they'll have, I think it's the Tree of Gondor on it, and or just the stars, but they'll have like various different elements in different orders. Like in this one, the trees are right at the edge, so it doesn't have that column thing, and then this one already had an arch, so I didn't need to add that. And other ones would have the elvish, but I wasn't sure on how much I could get the detail in, so I was like, I'm not gonna risk trying to write elvish here, especially since I don't read or write elvish. And yeah, so overall it was pretty fun, though the foil didn't quite work out how I wanted it to. I've mostly used foil for cards where it's just on a flat surface, and it does suggest like doing it on a flat surface. The sword and the staff was the part that came out the best, because I just kind of wanted to have like a kind of a glowy effect, but kind of stuck in weird chunks. And it just was like kind of circular around the stars rather than like really making it look glowy in a sense. But I mean, it still looked nice. And even with just the wood burning part, even without the foil, it looked pretty cool. Though if I did this again, I might try just painting, because I do have some like silver paint, so live and learn, like I said. And I'll see you next time. Bye!